Everyone, Maury Curtis Dunbar here. Welcome back to Painted Studio on a frosty February Friday. Try saying that one 3 times fast, considering I didn't even plan it. And today I am working on the desk that I started a couple of weeks ago. And one of the things that I had to do was seal it with shellac, because shellac is a great sealer for tannins and stains, so that you don't have things bleeding through to your final finish. Now, often if you're working with black or navy blue, that's not an issue, but I still like to seal in my tannins because I don't like that opportunity for something to turn weird in the not too distant future. Hi, Teresa, nice to see you. Now, you can buy shellac at the hardware store. Zinsser makes one. It's a great product. Or you can make your own. And I don't think most people realize that a lot of people make their own shellac. I do it all the time. So a little bit of information. Shellac comes in flakes like this. Different colors. This is blonde, a very blonde shellac. This is orange shellac. I think I have some ruby shellac here. And you buy it, the flakes, by the pound. And when you mix it, you're basically taking these flakes and pouring it into denatured alcohol and creating your shellac. What you buy in the cans in the hardware store, the clear shellac from Zinsser. Now, I'm not talking about anybody else's brands. You have to do a little research. Zinsser's brand is de-waxed shellac, which is very important for furniture finishing. You do not want a waxed shellac because wax is resistant, so things will come off of it if you use regular waxed shellac. You want to make sure it's de-waxed, which I know the Zinsser is, and it comes in a 3-pound cut. What does that mean? A 3-pound cut means that they use 3 pounds of shellac flakes per gallon of denatured alcohol. That is the standard in a can of shellac. That's not what I use. I use a 2-pound cut, which means I would use 2 pounds of shellac flakes to a gallon of denatured alcohol. Now, what's the difference there? Well, it's a less intense product. So it is a little friendlier to some paints and stuff, because there's a lot of paints that don't love shellac. And I have found that if I make it a 2-pound cut, a thinner cut of shellac, a less intense shellac, it goes on thinner, and my paint product likes it much better. I found a lot of this out because I'm a gilder. I do a lot of gold leafing stuff, and I've had great instructors who've taught me how to make my own shellac and stuff like that. But guess what? It is super easy, and I'm going to teach you how to do it. So the first thing I'm going to tell everybody to do when you have time is go to shellac.net. I will put that in the notes, shellac.net. What that is a website that sells shellac, waxed, de-waxed, flake, button. There's no difference with button other than it comes in a little chunk versus in flakes, and there's full mixing instructions for it. And they also have this great chart that shows you how to break your cut down, as in, it shows you for 1 gallon, a half a gallon, a quart, a pint, and a cup. So you don't have to make a gallon of this to make the measurements make sense. You have a chart right here that shows you what to use to get a 1 pound, 1 pound cut, a 1.5 pound cut, a 2 pound cut, a 2.5 pound cut, or a 3 pound cut of flakes of shellac. Now, I know that sounds super confusing, but you're gonna watch me do this and you're gonna be like, oh, well, that makes sense. Okay, so we're gonna flip the camera down. Now, I make my own shellac all the time. I like it this way. I can control the viscosity, I can control the density. So the first thing you're gonna need is a scale. Most of us have a little food scale floating around. So I'm going to make a small, first of all, I'm gonna find out just how much shellac I have in these bags, because obviously this is what's left of what I've been making shellac out of. This is very light blonde shellac. So you can see the flakes are very pale yellow. and it's de-waxed, meaning there is no wax in here so that my paint will adhere to it, will not resist. So the next thing I gotta do is turn on my scale. Maybe I should turn it towards me so I can read it. Come on, 0 out. And now I'm gonna see how much shellac I have here. I'm trying not to send it everywhere. And of course, I've got shellac flakes everywhere. Now, do you all know what shellac is made from? If you're not familiar, it is the secretions of the lac beetle. That's right. Shellac is beetle goo. And we just have to suck that one up. That's what it is. Okay, so I have an ounce of flakes here, and this is done by weights and by volume. So I have 1 ounce of flakes here. So if I wanted to make a 2-pound cut, it would require, for a cup of shellac, I need 2 ounces of flakes. I only have 1, so I'm going to make a half a cup of 2-pound cut shellac. I've just simply halved the measurements for the 1 cup measure. Now this is not going to look very exciting. It's not going to make a ton of product here. I just got to make sure I got my measures right. All right, I want a little something here. Okay, so I'm going to take my denatured alcohol, and maybe if I'm smart, because denatured alcohol is flammable, so using my measuring cups separated from each other will give me a little better control so I don't douse myself. Denatured alcohol is great for cleaning. It's also campfire fuel or Bunsen burner fuel. Now, there are grades of denatured alcohol. This is just the generic kind I get at the hardware store. If I was using the shellac for fine finishing, I might need a better quality. I'm not using it that way. I'm using it to make myself primer and stain blocker. So I've got a half a cup in there. So again, if I was making a full cup of 2-pound cut shellac, I'd have a cup of denatured alcohol and 2 ounces of flakes. I only have 1 ounce, so I'm making a half a cup of shellac. I've halved my recipe to make a smaller batch. I don't want to waste my shellac because it's the last I have, and I'm about to use up the other container I made with blonde in it. And I'm going to have to order some more shellac flakes soon. Okay, so that's how you make shellac. Very complicated, I know. I'm going to put my lid on here, and you're going to swirl it around. Now, this won't dissolve all at once. You need to give it a little time. You need to let it sit for 8 to 10 hours. It should be, usually I leave it overnight. I do it late in the day. You stir it a couple times, and it'll eventually mix and turn liquidy. I like this, it's more economical. I don't have big cans that go to waste. I only mix up what I need at the time I'm using it. So then to use it, we have one of our desk drawers. So let me go grab my can that I mixed before. This is a can that I had made. Let me pull this up a little bit so we're a little further out and you can see what I'm doing better. Pull my iPad out of the way so I don't shellac it. Once again, shellac.net. Go to for anything shellac. Make sure I've got everything wiped off, even though I did this twice today. I like to go back because God only knows what I winged on something before. All right, so these drawers, first of all, let me open my can because I had it used before. Shellac only cleans up with alcohol. It's alcohol is its solvent and alcohol is its cleaner. So clearly I left my brush sealed up in my can because cleaning up brushes with alcohol is a pain in the neck, and I only like to do it once a day. But if you look at my shellac, you can see this nice, super liquid consistency. This is what a 2-pound cut is. It's very much more watery in consistency than you would get from a 3-pound cut, which is the standard you get in the hardware store. Now, I love this. I'm sealing up my drawers with shellac. Why? It's not something I normally do, but this is an old desk, and there is all kinds of funky stains and weirdness in the drawers on this. So I'm having cleaned them all and done everything else that I needed to do. Now I'm sealing them up so that when I paint over them, nothing strange seeps through. And this is an excellent tannin blocker and stain blocker. Sorry, I gotta get the inside of the drawer, and to get that spot, I needed to turn it towards me. Now you're seeing I also have wood repair in this drawer. This drawer front, if you saw me gluing it and strapping it together before, you might remember that it was really badly falling. I mean, like the dovetails and stuff were all wrong, so I glued it, and that glue I knew was not going to be strong enough, so I came back in here with plastic wood and refilled it. So while it's not really pretty on the inside, it'll look better once I painted it. And I filled in my drawer holes here and then sanded it nice and smooth. And I can shellac right over that stuff. It won't matter. It won't hurt it. It won't do anything bad. But it'll look so much better with the shellac, and I mean with the drawers in the corners rebuilt in there like that. All right, I have a couple more drawers to do in the back, so I'm gonna recover my shellac like this so the brush stays wet and doesn't turn hard. I'll come back up for a second. So you can see shellac is really easy. People get very intimidated by shellac, and it's really not that big a deal. It's just another tool. So shellac the shellac flakes are secretions of the lac beetle. It comes in lots of colors. It's dissolved by denatured alcohol when you mix it, and it cleans with denatured alcohol when you have to clean your brush. It is, as long as you're getting the de-waxed shellac, and I prefer the thinner cut, you're gonna have no problems really with your paint adhering. If you're buying the Zinsser, also go out, buy some denatured alcohol. You can thin down that Zinsser shellac by 1/3, and you'll have a better cut of shellac. The other thing to tell you is when you're making your own shellac, try not to make more than you're going to use in 6 months to a year, because once it's exposed to air, it's going to start wanting to evaporate and harden, because that's what alcohol does, and that's what shellac does. So you don't want to make big containers of it and have it sitting around. Make enough to use as you're going along. So clearly I make small containers of it. I use it on my furniture. These other colors you can use for things like toning and tinting. You just have to make sure you're getting de-waxed. Like this orange, that's a waxed shellac. So I cannot use it for furniture unless I wanted to use it as a top coat. I don't use shellac as top coat. I know some people do. They sand it. It sands like a dream. They sand it. They go back and do another layer and polish. That's not how I work. If you're into French polishing, which is what that's called, you need to learn that from somebody else, because that's not my specialty. All right. So we're going to come up, and we're also going to prime one of our drawers. Now, yep, I got did I get the inside of this? I think I didn't. It doesn't look like I did the shellac on the inside of this drawer. I might have gotten distracted, so I might have to shellac this one and go grab another drawer. So let's go back down. All right, let me go a little further down. Yep, I didn't shellac the inside of this drawer. I don't know why I thought I did. because I shellacked all the other ones. But I think at one point yesterday, I realized, oh crap, all those screw holes are in the wrong place. So I stopped doing what I was doing and went back in and completely filled all the drawer holes where the knobs were. All right, and this dries super fast, but I try not to paint the same day I shellac, because even though it dries, I want all those alcohol vapors to evaporate completely and give a good hard cure. And because it's alcohol in here, it does dry fast, it does cure fast, and it's ready to go fairly quick. All right, let me come back in here, get the spots I missed, and then I'll go grab a drawer that I actually finished the work on. Because, I don't know, I have no memory anymore. I can't remember anything. I think I do something and then I turn around and find out I didn't. Now, I did the front of this. I can see I did it. It's nice and shiny. I don't know what I was thinking. All right, give me a second. Let me go grab another drawer. There we go. All right, here we go. We got another drawer. Wrap that up. Set it to the side. Tidy up my paper here. So looking in this drawer, it's a little easier to see why I need to seal it with shellac. Somebody stamped red ink in one of the, there it is. Somebody stamped with ink in the corners. That's not a maker's mark. There's some kid did something. There's all kinds of funky stuff in here. So I want to, and all the drawers have stuff like this in it. Well, one of those is a maker's mark. One of them says, good job. So we're gonna paint inside and out front of the doors. Now, I don't tend to do the sides of the drawers. I know a lot of people love to do the sides of the drawers. I don't. The reason is that it can impede the way drawers slide. And so I don't like to build up anything on the outside here. It's a personal thing. It's not right or it's not wrong. I have lots of drawers that don't want to move well anyway, no matter what you do to them. So, all right, so I'm gonna paint the inside of the drawer. We're working with Faux Effects Set Coat Black because this is gonna be my base for whatever I apply over it. I've already picked my color scheme. You guys are all just gonna have to wait and work with me. Now, normally I'm a little more methodical. I paint the drawer sides before I paint the drawer bottoms, but sometimes I get in there and do a little bit of both. And I don't expect these to be perfect in one coat. Now, part of the reason I use set coat all the time is this stuff levels like you cannot believe. It levels like a dream. It could look brushy like this as I'm going. Sorry, you're gonna have to see the side. I have to stick my head in here to get this one side done. It levels like oil paint, which is one of the formulation specialties of this. And so when this dries, it will have tightened down nice and smooth to the surface, and you will barely see a brush mark in it. All right, so we get the top here. Let's get these tops. And this is my first coat. So I'll probably have to come back and do a second because my first coat's never completely opaque, even though the coverage is excellent. And if I was spraying, I might be able to get away with one coat, but because you're brushing, you get highs and lows. So some spots will be dry thinner and then others, and I'll see like, oh, right there, probably will need second coat. All right, let's take this down. I'm gonna try not to, I'm gonna move the camera so you can see what I'm doing. So clearly this is in my lap. Why? Because I can't paint the front of this and have you see it if it's up under my chin. I won't be able to see what I'm doing. And all I'm going to do is just paint this a smooth, even coating of black. Now, again, I'm going to remind everybody, because everybody does this at least once, you're not painting, you don't paint like this, because that leaves you bad brush strokes in there. You're going to want to smooth your strokes across the surface. The smoother your brush strokes are, the better your finish is going to be. All right, we're going to set that down, let it dry. I'll come back in for a second coat, and it'll all look awesome. All that has to sit and dry. I've got to do that whole job on the entire desk. All right, let's come back up here. Let me see how long I've been on with you. Not very long. I think we're just going to leave it at that today, because shellac is a big lesson, and I know some of you may want to process it. You might have some questions. Let me scroll back. Hey, Desiree, nice to see you, and Ethel and Kimberly and everybody who popped in, and Mare and Rhonda, thank you for popping by. So I'm going to leave that one. I might come on later working on something else, but right now you've got the shellac on how to make it, where the chart is, again, shellac.net, the options, why you choose waxed or de-waxed. Waxed is truly for furniture finishes on top, like as in top coat. You're not going to get a good result if you use it as a primer. I promise everything will just shed right off of it. You want de-waxed shellac flakes, denatured alcohol, and a glass jar. See, look, our flakes are already starting to turn into shellac, and this is one of my favorite things. It's so pretty to see it dissolving. Now, it's kind of wanting to settle on the bottom, so sometimes you have to go back in. See, look, give it a little stir. That's going to be so pretty. Look how that turning into that golden shellac. Now, you'll never see white shellac. You'll never see clear, flawless colored shellac, because shellac by its very nature, the lightest color, which is this, is yellowish. And that's why when I tell you, when you test furniture too, if you wipe it down and it's immediately sticky tacky, if you touch it with denatured alcohol, it's immediately sticky tacky, and you pick it up and it's yellow, that's how you know it's shellac. So, like I said, shellac dissolves shellac for making it, shellac dissolves shellac for cleaning it, shellac dissolves shellac for wiping it off. All right, everybody, have a great day, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.